Hi, Dave. One more game with the D-backs and then an off day tomorrow. I know yesterday you had said potentially JT for this weekend. Any further update on when he might be activated?
Just kind of each day watching him progress. It's been good. Don't see it happening this weekend.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that when he does come back, we don't take that chance of regression. So right now, that's probably off the table, and then we're shooting for early next week in the Padres series.
How much confidence do you have that, regardless of where we're at in the calendar with only 16 more games, that guys that haven't had significant time recently, Justin Turner's, Joe Kelly's, are going to have their body where they need to be in the most important time of the year for you?
I think with and you can add Petey in that equation as well. I think with the pitchers, relief pitchers, getting 4 or 5 outings, I think will be sufficient given their track records and their kind of being veterans. And with Justin, I think that, taking 40 at bats, something like that is more than enough. So, given where we expect him to be back by, he'll certainly eclipse that.
I thought that I read this wrong originally, but I didn't. Mookie at second tonight. What goes beyond that or behind that?
Yeah, Mookie's at second base.
What happened there?
Originally drafted as a second baseman. He takes grounders every day in the infield, and he came to me a couple weeks ago. And we were just talking about potential scenarios and how we move players around the diamond, and if there ever was an opportunity in the postseason where things sort of get crazy, that he might find himself in the infield. And, for me, nothing is off the table. So especially when a player like Mookie is open to it. And so I just felt that this was a good opportunity for him to log some innings, get the feel of it, and see what he thinks. So right now, just gathering information. But again, he wants to do it. He's excited about it. He takes grounders every day, and it's going to be fun tonight.
I realize the caliber of player that Mookie is, certainly, but would you still be open to this type of decision if you guys were fighting for a playoff spot versus having the best record in the league?
Probably not. But I do believe that the caliber of player he is, knowing that he's played the infield his entire life, also giving us optionality going forward. I think certainly I feel really good about it.
And you couldn't put Mookie at second yesterday, Dave, so Kike could play right field? Fernando Clemente Day?
Nothing against Dustin right now, but I think that his first start in the majors with Clayton pitching, I just didn't love that. But, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Next question is from Dave Bassett. Go ahead, Dave.
Dave, what would be the type of situation where Mookie Betts is playing second base in a playoff game?
There's obviously, Dave, there's a lot of you sometimes hit for guys early. The game could be in the balance in the third or fourth inning. And as you're kind of playing teams that nowadays, and we saw with the Brewers a couple years ago, where you're starting to deploy bullpens, you just never know what could happen to ultimately scratch a couple runs across early that might prove beneficial later. So the option of having him be able to play second base, if we got Pollock in there and different guys in there, I don't know. Jock could be in the game, and you just never know how it could play out. So just, again, giving me more options where sometimes in the playoffs it can get crazy.
How many times between now and the end of the season do you anticipate having him play second base?
I would say that maybe a couple starts, and then maybe so he's getting one tonight, maybe another start, and maybe another time coming into a game at some point in time, going from right field to second base.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next question is from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, Dave, we just talked to Bruised Art Gratterall. How is it that the guy in your bullpen who throws the hardest has the lowest strikeout rate?
A lot of times with Bruised Art, guys with a lot of velocity, and it's a sinker. It's not a four-seamer at the top of the zone where guys want to end that at bat sooner than later for fear of velocity. So I think that one thing is that it's a sinker. So when you're putting him in that sinker ball category, which really he just started really throwing his slider more, he started throwing it harder. That right there is going to eliminate punch outs. So two things. He's a sinker baller. Guys try to end at bats quicker, but I think incorporating that slider, which he did to John Jay last night, there should be an uptick in strikeouts.
Do you expect him to become more of a swing and miss guy as he develops as a pitcher?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that for a Brewstar to understand how to throw the slider, how to shape it, how to shorten it, and also to change eye levels at times with this fastball up will kind of increase more swing and miss.
How hard would someone have to throw for major league hitters not to be able to put a bat on it? 130, 140?
Yeah, you know what? They can time a bullet. It's true. It's I always joke with coaches that 95, 97 is the new 90, where when I played, guys were throwing 90. You don't see guys throwing as hard. You didn't see guys throwing that hard. But nowadays, it's got to be the front and back, and as far as secondaries, and also changing eye levels. But certainly, if you're going to throw it 105, as we've seen it, and it's straight and it's middle, it's going to get hit.
And I'll ask you again, any clarity on the rotation going forward?
No, Bill. We've got Julio going Saturday. We're still TBD and trying to figure out, where Walker's at. That's kind of a little bit of the thing that's been front of mind for all of us.
I promise I won't ask tomorrow. Thanks, Dave.
No, I think you'll have more clarity tomorrow, but thank you.
Next question is from Alden Gonzalez. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave. I know your focus has to be elsewhere right now, but the air quality projections for Los Angeles this weekend don't look very favorable. I'm wondering just how much you've been keeping up with that, and at this point, is there any concern about just bringing your players into Dodger Stadium for those games on Saturday and Sunday right now?
I think it's just kind of following the lead of Major League Baseball officials. I know that you look at the Bay Area and how the air quality is, and they felt that it was fine, good enough to play. So I have been tracking it, but I'm still hopeful. But right now, our guys, I think the mindset, Alden, is just to be ready to play on Saturday until we're told otherwise.
So the potentially moving that game has not been a topic yet?
Not at this point, not to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Next question is from Jack Harris. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Dave, did you ever think that in a short season like this, you'd even be in a position the last couple of weeks where you have some breathing room in the standings and luxury to do something like what you're doing with Mookie and maybe, resting guys and whatnot?
I don't know. I really didn't know how it was going to play out. There's obviously some things that people couldn't predict or didn't predict that are playing out as far as how teams are playing this year and how some teams are not performing. But I think it's more of this is a situation we've put ourselves in, fortunately. And I do believe that the rest that we give our guys, intentionally is something that we believe in regardless of where we're at. But I think in this case with Mookie, it's something that he brought to us or brought to me, and I just felt it made sense. And I like it. I love the way that, given the way we move our position players around, it just adds that different element and optionality for our ball club. And I think that sends a message throughout the entire organization. So there's just really not a whole lot of downside, but it's a credit to the players for putting us in this position.
When you look at the bullpen these last couple of weeks, how much competition is there still among that group as they try to, jockey for different roles, preparing for?
Yeah, it's a lot. And, when you play for this club, that's kind of what comes with it. And I think that this bullpen as it stands now is as good as any playoff bullpen could be put together. And now you've got Joe Kelly and Pedro Baez added to the mix. So that just makes that competition, those decisions for us that much more difficult. But we'll know more. We still have time, and we'll see how it plays out.
How defined do you want the roles down there to be? Are you trying to get guys in certain innings, or when you look at like somebody like Trinan, who has thrown in a lot of different spots this year. Is that your preference, wanting guys?
Yeah, I think basically it's just kind of whatever role we see him in. And I don't really, and I say that vaguely, and I think it is vague. It's just take the ball, because as you look out, a reliever could be in the game in the 4th inning, or, not pitch for 2 days and then have to go up and down, get left out, get right out. So, yeah, they've all embraced it, and just really happy with the way they've all performed, really.
Next question is from Ron Kavner. Go ahead, Ron.
Hey, Dave, did the mangoes help heal Brewsdar's knee? Is he doing okay?
So that's a little inside joke, Ron. Yes. From what I talked, he just said he feels great. So I'll talk to the training staff to get confirmation. But given we have an off day tomorrow, don't see him in the game tonight. So, the floor is him having a couple days off, and we'll reassess how he is on Saturday.
Got it. And then how weird is it? Will it be, you think, just to see Bumgarner in a different uniform, still an NL West rival, but you're so used to seeing him in a different place? What's it going to be like to face him here?
Yeah, I mean, just seeing him pitch here as a home team D-back is certainly going to be different. We've seen him on video and watch games with him pitching, so that kind of novelty is different. But yeah, to just not see him up there at AT&T Park in a Giants uniform or a Dodger Stadium, it's going to be different. But I expect the grunts and the yelling at hitters and the compete from him, certainly.
Thank you.
Yep.
Got another question from Alana. Go ahead, Alana.
Dave, is there any hesitation when you put both of your catchers in the lineup at the same time? Is there ever pause for that?
No, because in the American League or with the DH style of play, the only cost is if something were to happen to Austin, you lose the DH.
Right.
So at that point in time, we've got a few guys on the bench that could kind of fill that void as far as the DH spot when the turn comes up. But that's certainly exposure, but I just don't think that I'm not too concerned about it.
Okay, fair. Thank you.
Go ahead, Eric.
Dave, just to be clear, you said Julio starting Saturday?
Correct.
And then, so does that mean like Tony Gonsolin is available in the bullpen sort of in the interim till we decide what's next for him?
Absolutely, Eric. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You got it.
Got time for one more. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Dave, Justin Turner went on the record saying or sort of questioning why a family quarantine might be necessary if you guys are in some sort of bubble format in the playoffs. Do you feel the same way? Do you have an opinion on that?
I understand, Justin's take. I just think that understanding the fact that whatever way we can as an industry decrease risk, that's kind of the way I see it. There's going to be sacrifice from everyone. It's not going to be idyllic for anyone. I think everyone has the goal of starting the postseason and finishing it with a champion crowned. So how we get there is the big question. But for me, I'm open to sacrificing time with family, whatever both sides come to some consensus. I think that the Dodgers, we've done a great job as far as following protocols, being responsible. But, when you're talking about 16 teams initially, you can't account for everybody. So the less amount of variables, I do think that decreases risk. So I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody.